Hey guys, I bet you weren't expecting me today. I hope you guys have been doing awesome and amazing. I thought I would check in, let you guys know that I've been doing awesome. I love my new church down here. I've been learning so much from them. I hope I've been learning as much as you guys have from Mr. Jim and Mr. Chris and Miss Tiffany and Mrs. Amy. I hope you guys have been just soaking it all in. I know you guys, it's hard staying at home right now, but keep learning from Children's Church and keep finding ways to learn. So, it's awesome. I'm going to share with you a piece today about finding the empty tomb, which is really cool. And there's a couple of key points I want you guys to focus on. And then I'm going to also show you a video of what my new church does every year of kind of this piece of the story, so you can kind of see it in action, which is kind of cool. So you can go from there. And I'm sure you guys just heard from Mr. Chris about the thieves and Jesus dying on the cross for our sins, which was a sad day, but it was a great day. It needed to happen. Jesus knew what he was doing and sacrificing for us. And, so that's really great. But then, they go and bury him in the tomb. And then when this part of my piece, finding the empty tomb, do you guys know who found the empty tomb? That's right. It was Mary Magdalene. And so this wasn't David, who had beaten the lion and the bear and the Goliath, who potentially rolled away the stone. No. This was Mary Magdalene. And when Mary was heading, going to the tomb to pray, there actually, before she had done that, there was soldiers that had been placed at this tomb. And back in those days, the soldiers were very disciplined, because if they didn't, they were basically, they'd be killed for not doing their jobs. And so when Mary come up to the tomb and realized that the soldiers were not there, she knew something immediately wasn't right. I can imagine she becomes fear try to grip her, but she still, went up there and noticed the stone was rolled away. So this wasn't, Mary couldn't have rolled this stone away. And so but there's an angel there, and the angel told them, no, do not fear, for Jesus has risen. And so they were excited, but they were fearful. They're not sure what's going on. What do you mean Jesus has risen? And he told them to go tell the disciples in the house. We're in a house praying and sleeping from exhaustion and not really sure what was going to happen. Kind of like right now, how we're all at home and not really sure what's going to happen. But, so Mary finds this empty tomb and is excited. She's like, okay, Jesus has risen. So she's going to run back to town, tell the disciples. And on her way back to town, she sees Jesus. And Jesus tells them to rejoice. And so they're all excited. They're going absolutely just, I can imagine they're going crazy and just thinking like, oh my gosh, who do we tell? We have to go to tell the disciples. We have to. This is amazing. This is the most incredible thing that can happen, is seeing Jesus rise again. And so I imagine their thoughts were just wild. And so as they ran back, and this part of the story I think is really key. So Mary's outside of the house and she's screaming. I can imagine she's screaming. They're banging on the windows or the gates, or let me in, let me in. I have to tell you something. The key point here is Mary is not, she was not the girl who cried wolf. She wasn't someone that lied all the time. She wasn't somebody, she was very truthful. And so when Mary's at the gate and she's banging on everything that she can to wake up the disciples and tell them that Jesus has risen, when they come out, they believe Mary. They believe Mary, and go look for yourselves. Jesus has risen. And the disciples take off towards the tomb. And they go and they look, and sure enough, they find that Jesus has risen. The tomb is empty, except for a white cloth that Jesus had been buried in. And they take off running. They're jumping up for joy. Jesus has risen. Jesus has risen. They go back to the house of prayer, and who do they meet? They meet Jesus. That's right. They go back and they start praying and thanking, like, oh man, I can imagine they were still kind of thinking that maybe something else had happened to him. Maybe someone stole his body, but really Jesus had risen, and Jesus shows himself to them, and just imagine faith just rises up inside of them. And I hope this story brings you guys some faith, and faith rises up in you guys, so that way you can tell your parents that during the times like this, that to remain strong and be faithful to Jesus, and he will come back and someday, and he'll be able to save us all and show us his power just like he did to them. So here's the video from my new church, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I love you guys. I miss you guys so much. And maybe I'll come back for a visit sometime, but it was great teaching you guys today. Have a good one. Talk to you later.